a good friend, brother, father. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Keaton Laidlaw. I first,
Dan!
I first met Scott 16 years ago when I was dating Leash, and I was going over to meet the parents. And I remember Leash warning me.
Just use your voice, you're fine. Just drop the
Here
mic.
we go. This one's recorded, we're fine. I first met Scott 16 years ago when I was dating Leash, and I was going over to meet the parents. And I remember Leash warning me that Scott was this big bad man and I've got to be real careful. I met him. He seemed like a nice guy, but not one that you'd mess with. We didn't really become friends until Leash's death, and that was bittersweet. We would hang out at Scott and Barb's place and drink and talk. And over the course of many years, Scott and I became close. I'd go over and watch NASCAR with him or help him do lawn work or whatever, and my first impression never really changed. He was a nice guy that you did not mess with. Scott had a very unique way of communicating with his friends. I'd go over there with some new sunglasses, and he'd stand there and do one of these and say, "Now what the hell are those?" I got them at Speedway. I'd say, "Yeah, they actually look pretty cool." And then he'd tell me a story about how he loved sunglasses since his disco dancing days. And to me, that was one of the neat things about Scott. If you didn't let the first thing out of his mouth get to you, he was a real, genuine friend. I remember when Brittany and I were first pregnant with Ender. We weren't married. It wasn't planned. And I was a little freaked out. And when I told Scott, he said, "Oh man, kids are awesome." And that was probably the best reaction I got from anyone that I told. I still think about that. Good man, Scott. I want to say that it was typical of Scott that he didn't judge people, but I'd be lying. But he didn't judge me, and I don't think he judged anybody he loved. Don't get me wrong, he'd tell you real quick if he thought you were doing something dumb or wrong. But he would also just listen to people. It was always easy to talk to Scott. One of my favorite memories was when Ender was turning 1, and Scott came over either before or after the party. There weren't a lot of people here, and he had bought Ender a little kid's ATV, a little 4-wheeler. My son is 1, so I don't think there's any way he's going to be able to operate this at all, but we take it out into the yard and put Ender on it. Sure enough, he figures out how to operate the throttle. He's driving around the yard. And it was super cool that Scott thought to get him this, and who knew my boy could drive? Scott did. And I look over, and Scotty's got tears in his eyes. Big old sweet Scott. I didn't realize how much Scott was a part of my life until I started writing this eulogy. He was there when I found out I was going to have a boy. He was there when I got married. He was there when I had my daughter. And he was there for us when my wife's dad died. He showed up unannounced, which is completely unlike Scott. He wanted to help out. He gave my wife a big hug. And that was a rough day. Scott made better. And although he never said much on the subject, Scott loved his family. Scott loved his friends. Every once in a while, I'd catch a glimpse of that truth. I'd ask him how Cam was doing, and he'd tell me what he was up to, where he was working, and the last time he saw him. Then there'd be a pause, and then he'd say, "He's a good kid. I love him." Scott loved his family. Scott loved his friends. We have a couple of those friends who have prepared something for today. First being my mother, Barb Laidlaw.
Can we just get on with it? I'm filming you, so I'm making it.
I'm Barb Laidlaw. Thank you all for coming, first of all.
You're welcome.
More than we expected, and it's really touching. I just hung up the time for I know it's I don't know why Scott and I were friends. We disagreed on almost everything. We argued. Like he said he'd tell you if he thought your hair didn't look right or that girl was ugly or I don't know. I don't know.
Amen, sister.
He was a staunch U of M fan. I'm an MSU grad. He was so into sports. I couldn't care less about sports. I just want to know what the score is when the MSU game is over. He was into NASCAR. Yeah, people go round, round, round. I was excited. He hated to read. I'm an avid reader.
Me too.
And her too.
I read all the
He was a
time.
staunch Republican. Not going to get political here, but I tend to side more with the liberals among us. He hated crowds. He would hate this right now. When I say crowd, I mean 4 people. I get my energy from people. He loved Keaton. Okay, this is where we could agree. We both really love Keaton. And as Keaton mentioned, as his family grew, he loved Brittany and their kids. And in fact, my grandkids called him Papa Scott. Until he moved to Florida, he was here for every holiday. He was family. In spite of our arguments and having little in common, I could see that Scott was just a big marshmallow with a big heart. I got the chills just saying this. Mentioned his daughter Leash, and he teared up. He couldn't talk. And I'm talking years after her death. Mentioned his son Cam, he turned to mush. He loved you so much, Cam. And he loved Amy. And when he was here last month, he couldn't stop saying the nicest things about you guys. He loved the SFK. For those of you who are saying, what's the SFK? I don't know.
It's the sci-fi nights.
It was a group of guys, Keaton and his friends, who are mostly here today, who hung out in high school and decided to give their group a name. They couldn't even come up with one on their own. They stole it from somebody. Sci-Fi Nights.
From a game.
And they became the SFK. And they don't stand for anything, and yet they stand for so much good. They're just such a good group of guys. And now they're wives and kids, and it's just been so much to help them grow. And Scott met the SFK through Keaton when Keaton was dating Alicia. And a bond was formed.
Oh, wow.
And he was a friend of the SFK until the day he died. I don't remember when Scott and I started hanging out, just the two of us, but all of a sudden one day we're out on my deck having a cold beverage and shooting the breeze. And that became a regular thing. quite often he would come over here and we would just hang out. We talked about a lot of things. We argued about a lot of things.
Yeah.
We talked about Christianity and God and death and life after death. And when it came to the life after death part, we were both pretty silent. We just didn't know what happens. So the day after he died, I spoke to him and said, "So, what's it like? What happens? Are you okay? Are you happy? Can you give me a sign?" I don't know what kind of sign I was looking for. Hopefully change all my water into wine or something, but that didn't happen. Page 2. Smooth on it.
Oh, this will take at least 10
3
minutes.
years ago, I had to put my beloved dog Jack down.
No.
This dog was the love of my life. And it was on a Saturday, and Scott called me that day shortly after I got home and asked me what I was doing, and I was just a blubbering mess. And I said, "I had to put Jack down today." And he said, "I'll be right there." And he was. He came over here, and he had a white rose bush, and he sat with me on the deck all afternoon consoling me. We dug a grave for Jack. Honestly, we take a couple of scoops and then go back up and console. We buried Jack and we put the white rose bush over the grave. And you can't, it's almost out now, but this is the white rose bush right here. And that thing blooms profusely all summer long, more than any of my other rose bushes. And all my other rose bushes are red or variations of red. I would send pictures of it to Scott. I'd just take a picture and shoot it off and say, "Look how good the rose bush is doing. Jack must be really good fertilizer."
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be morose there. That was kind of
That was funny. Scott would have liked it.
Last Saturday, I was cleaning out my flower beds here. Don't they look nice?
Yeah.
And like I said, all my rose bushes are variations of red, and you can see nothing's in bloom anymore. But as I'm cleaning out my flower beds, oh, Dan, you're in the way. Can you stand up and move just a second? I came across this one white rose, which has almost nothing left on it now. A white rose, there's no rose bush, there's nothing there except a little tiny stalk with this white rose on it. I don't believe in that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But holy cow. That was really cool. But being Barb, I'm like, okay, that was cool, but now can you show me another sign? Because I'm not sure if that was just, a natural thing that happened, or is that really you? Now, I live alone, so I can walk around my house talking to dead people without raising any eyebrows. So, like, seriously, Scott, can you show me another sign? And I'm not going to tell you he actually said anything, but I laughed out loud and I said, "Oh, God, no, Harvey, it's not your doing. Don't even try to get right now." Scott's death was
What are
sudden,
you doing?
and I think that's what's hardest for all of us to understand. I think the beautiful thing, though, is if we had known he was going to go when he went, what would we have done differently? Or what would we have done?
I know.
As it turns out, he came up to Michigan last month. He spent a week with Cam and Amy. He got to see he got to see Cam marry the love of his life. He spent a day with me here. I was his date for the wedding. He got to spend time with the SFK. He got to spend time with a lot of people. And I'm not sure if we would have done anything different had we known that this was going to happen. We're all going to miss Scott, and I will never look at a white rose the same. This is Scott's friend Randy.
Wow. Never thought I'd be doing this. I think this is the first time that I've ever done this. Scott meant a lot to me. It took me a while to do this, but I'll do the best that I can. In January of 2000, I met Scott on the first day on the job at RBS. He says to me, "You must be Randy." And I said, "Yes." Then he would say, "We'll see how long you last." I accepted this as a challenge. Over the next few days, I noticed that he could be brutal with his sarcasm. I kept my calm and forged forward. Over the next few months, it was getting better. Sarcasm was still present, but not brutal. After a few years, Scott recommended me to a supervisor position. Don't think I ever thanked him for this. Well, Scott, thank you. You and I had some good times. You accepted me into your world. Not too many people could accomplish that. No matter how far apart we were still connected, either in chat or on the phone. And by the way, it's your move on Words with Friends. I guess I'll be waiting a while. Scott, I know what you're saying up in heaven. Stop it, Randy. You're the only one that gave me so many different names. I guess that is what best friends do. I found a little poem on the internet that I'm going to read. Even though he's gone, his memory still remains in our hearts. His smile and face will never fade. We think of him as we go on each day. The good times we remember and the days spent together will be in our memories forever. So when you start to get down and you really want to cry, just think of the fun times and don't wonder why. Just leave it at that and know he's better now. He's in a better place. So Scott, we love you and we miss you so much, but we know you're much happier. So watch over us and make sure we're okay, and we will see you again someday.
I'm gonna read something Cam wrote. Dad, I miss you more and more each day. I take comfort in knowing that you are at peace with Alicia. I'll always think of you sitting around a bonfire like we used to do on those cool summer nights. I'll think of you when the Eagles come on the radio, and their music takes me back to our family road trips to Florida. I will always think of you and Alicia when the Bleeding Hearts bloom in spring. It meant the world to have you at my wedding, the happiest day of my life. You left us too soon. I miss you. I love you.
Good job.
At this time, anybody who would like to say something can. come up here, and we had remote mics, but I broke both of them. So you have to come in if you want to say so.
If he didn't pick on you, he didn't like you.
Can you hold it?
Anybody?
Are you recording?
What?
Just memories.
Okay.
We don't have much battery
I
left,
think
so.
you guys all summed it up very nicely.
Yeah.
Well, I got one more thing. I'm gonna let the gloves come off now.
Well, good, because I don't have much battery left. Added no 24 minutes. 21 minutes. Could just take up that much battery.
You've been recording the whole time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This is nice.
When I first got the news about Scott, oh well, it's been around a couple of weeks. And I miss my friend. I miss the random texts asking me about my kids. I miss the nights he and I would hang out and shoot the shit for hours. I miss how we would laugh over the dumbest stuff.
Oops.
But I don't have any intention of seeing him anytime soon. And I'm sure he's okay with that. He'd insist upon that. Scott was definitely about living a full life. Anyone who knew Scott got a sense that he lived a life. Scott lived his life.
Amen.
Scott lived his life. He raised a kind daughter and a badass son. He taught me how to garden. Hell, half the people here probably have plants from his garden. He was a teddy bear and a papa bear.